You ever been in this situation? You're trying to persuade someone about a particular topic, but they just won't believe you. And what you're telling them is absolutely undeniably true, but they still will not believe you. You're telling them that the sky is blue. They're telling you that it's not. You're telling them that if they jump off a bridge and land in water, they're going to get wet and probably die. And they're telling you, no, they won't. Well, the problem is that you're dealing with a non-believer. And in the game of influence and persuasion, these are some of the hardest people to try to convert. But there is a system, there is a way, there is a solution to this problem that I'm going to share with you in this video. So sit down and stay tuned. Non-believers are the hardest people to try to persuade. So today, what I want to do is share with you a strategy to change people's beliefs. Now, the very first rule is to never try to persuade or attract people that don't have any interest in what you have to offer to begin with. And if you want to learn more about that, then see my video on the persuasion disqualifiers. Now, when I talk about changing beliefs, I don't mean converting a vegan to a carnivore or drastically changing someone's beliefs. What I'm really talking about is just altering those beliefs very slightly. Now, the point is this: each and every one of us have core beliefs, and most of us will defend them at all costs, even though many deeply held beliefs have no factual foundation. Some beliefs are less rigid and are easier to change. Now, what I want to share with you here is a simple formula. So here you are as the persuader, and you want to alter a couple of the beliefs in this person's mind in order to get that person to say yes to something. Now, there's a couple of different ways that you could do that. But if you start challenging these beliefs, no matter how realistic, no matter how far out there they are, you instantly create a barrier between you and this person. And this is the biggest reason why people fail at selling, influencing, persuading, and communicating with other people. Why? Because they fail to use this person's belief system in a systematic way in order to influence and persuade them. You see, instead, they create tension by challenging the belief. Now, if you want to win an argument, just to say you're right, that's fine. But if you want to eventually persuade this person to do something for you, and you want to create a relationship or a situation where that continues to happen, then instead you have to abandon that strategy and you have to use a systematic way to do this. If you just continue to challenge them, you're going to create a wall of separation between you and that person. So, first, we need to take a look at this person's beliefs and understand why they believe what they do. Now, of course, there's different levels of beliefs. You first have to identify how deeply held a belief is, and then you develop your strategy from there. And your strategy can be based on one of two things. You can either A, try to change or alter the belief, which doesn't mean challenging it, or you can include the belief in your story, selling process, or point of view. Now, when I was managing 50 employees and there was a problem, I always sat down with the employee and tried to figure out why they did what they did. So, for example, might have had an employee who was scheduled to work until 10 o'clock, and then they left at 7 o'clock. If I was to just sit them down and start yelling at them, I might miss the fact that there was a death in the family, or maybe one of their kids got sick. Now, sometimes you have to reformat the belief. You have to create a new belief, which is that they should have called in to tell you that they had a problem, and that the next time an emergency or something drastic does happen, that they have to keep the line of communication open with you, because it could be very possible that that person doesn't have that kind of a belief, even though in my mind, it's common sense. So how does a belief develop? Well, first, things that can either be seen or heard are the most believable, right? This is referred to as automatic believing, right? So you have your brain, and then you have all this data that comes into it. As the brain scrutinizes information, it filters it, deciding what it wants to keep, what it wants to get rid of. And for the most part, the brain relies mostly on sight and hearing initially, right? So if I tell you that I fell out of a window, you're going to believe it more if you see it happen. Now, the second type of belief is what we call belief perseverance. And that happens when a person takes an already accepted belief and then runs it through a series of tests to determine whether or not they want to hold on to it. And usually what they're doing is they're putting it through these tests because they want to hold on to it. They're looking for reasons to justify their beliefs, right? We use these perception patterns as a way of filtering the information using a mental structure referred to as schemas to align what we see with our current beliefs. We take the new information we have and we use these mental filters, these perception patterns, to fit the data that we're receiving into our current belief system. So to persuade anyone effectively, you have to first identify the beliefs of theirs that are congruent to your own position, and then get them to reaffirm those beliefs. During this process, you got to be flexible with your own beliefs and start to challenge your own filters, because there's winning and then there's persuading. As I said before, if you want to win an argument for the sake of being right, or you want to get a point across, that's one thing. If you want to align with this person's thought process and then tweak it until it gets to the point where they comply with what you ask and continue to do that over and over again and feel good about it, in my opinion, that's a much better route to take. Now, realize that change in beliefs usually happen because of a desire to resolve some sort of an issue. Could be a personal issue, could be a financial issue, could be a problem with finding a solution. It usually takes place because of the desire to resolve some sort of an issue. So maybe your customer, your target, your prospect has been confronted with something that they weren't expecting, and now a belief change is starting to take place. It's rarely necessary to get people to change completely or move them to take some action in order to change a belief. The goal should actually be to just create a new belief. You want to move them just enough to where they can accept your belief along with their own beliefs. Again, the hardest beliefs to change are those that rely on faith and lack of proof. So what you want to do is present the new idea or desired outcome in the position of an expert and use evidence to support that position. Now, there are a couple of different ways to connect your audience to your idea, but the worst way to do it is to connect them from what I call down here, from below the persuasion threshold, right? You don't want to try to connect people from down here to your idea, which may be up here, because that's very hard. So in this case, you haven't established any credibility, you haven't pre-framed, and you haven't established yourself as an expert. Or these people that are down here, your position or what you're selling or your point of view is over here, these people aren't interested in what you have to offer, and they're never going to say yes to you, right? So that's what it's like to present an idea from below the persuasion threshold and get someone who's to present it from above and to try to get someone who's below it. So now the second route you could take is to present your idea from here, where these people are somewhat interested and have a need for what you have to offer. The beliefs are almost aligned. And the third way to present a new belief is to do it from up here. When you do it from up here, you've already identified similar beliefs. You're coming to them from an elevated point of view and from an elevated status. Now, the easiest way to elevate yourself is through what we call pre-framing, or through undeniable proof. Any kind of evidence or undeniable proof that supports your idea coupled with pre-framing will automatically bring you up to this level. And this is where you're going to have the easiest time persuading someone to change their beliefs. Now, if you're still having trouble getting someone to alter a belief, ask them what they would do if the belief was true. Now, this allows them to temporarily accept the belief or to suspend their disbelief. And once you get them to do that, you can reinforce the idea you're trying to get across by then supplying the proof. Now, once they've accepted your idea, my suggestion is to then reward them. Could be through anything, could be through a series of steps. Maybe you can make them part of an exclusive group. Maybe you can give them access to special information that few people have. The point is this: you present yourself as the expert. Then you determine what it is that is important to this person whose belief you're trying to change. Then you determine what is congruent to the current beliefs in relation to your idea. Next, you present your evidence. Next, you identify an area of frustration or confusion around the issue. You then reward the behavior. Now, again, to recap, when I'm trying to attract new customers, I don't target people that think persuasion and influence is coercive or evil, right? Because that's a waste of time. Ultimately, my goal is to show people how to benefit and improve their lives through influence and persuasion. So I'm not going to go try to find people that think it's bad and try to convert them. That's a bad strategy. What I want to do is start from here, where I know that they have some level of belief that what I'm offering can actually help them. The belief that I want to change may only be skepticism. They may think that I don't know what I'm talking about, or that I can't be trusted. They may think I'm a gangster because I have an East Coast accent and grew up in Brooklyn. Maybe everything they've studied in the past has been too difficult to apply in real life or couldn't be used in a practical way. So all of these things are preconceived notions that people might have about me that at some point have now transformed into beliefs. So at this point, my job, because they're here and I may be here, or I'm here and they're here, whatever, we're not on the same frequency. My job is through the use of pre-framing and relationship building to capitalize on the beliefs that they already have and then build from there. I have to identify the area of frustration or confusion and then create a solution. And when I create that solution for them, it begins to change their belief. It doesn't happen all the time. But in most cases, you can take a person who has one particular belief about something and tweak it into the belief that you want them to have. You need to reinforce the belief. You need to continue to give proof. You need to continue to provide any kind of testimonials and rewarding behavior by placing them in an elite group, giving special offers or access to information that not everyone else has access to. You need to follow up consistently so that they will maintain that new belief. And that's part of my overall GRIPS method, the S, which stands for sustaining your position in that 5-step process. Now, once you achieve your goal of getting the person to believe in you by purchasing a product or a service, you have to keep the lines of communication open as you create more products and services to help reinforce the new belief. In this case, that ability to influence and persuade others is a good thing. Now, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to like it, leave a comment, subscribe to the YouTube channel so you get updates when I post new videos like this. And if you want to see the overall strategy that the information that I just shared with you fits into, check out maverickpersuasion.com.